back once again. AD on the radio.
Flitter, it's you and the senorita. Woofer blowing up the tweeter, cause it's me up in the speaker. Back in the mama seat, top down like a player. And the sound up in your ears, it is the dopest rhyme sayer. Running game like a cheater, I'm balling like Derek Jeter. Complete on the marathon, I mean the very last meter.
So, I believe there's a little bit of confusion. I think there's a little bit of confusion about the whole situation with Sean Penn and El Chapo. I don't know if you caught it or not yesterday. But we've been talking a little bit about how Sean Penn regrets that his interview with El Chapo was a failure. Why was it a failure in his eyes? Well, whether you're familiar with the story or not, here are the bullet points. He went to a lot of trouble to interview El Chapo. And now he feels that the Rolling Stone article that resulted in it was an abject failure. We know this because he went on 60 Minutes, and he said, I have a regret that the entire discussion about this article ignores its purpose, which was to try to contribute to this discussion about the policy in the war on drugs. He also denied that the interview led Mexican government officials to El Chapo, saying, quote, we had met with him many weeks ago on October 2nd in a place nowhere near where he was captured. And he believes the Mexican government is perpetuating that myth to put him in the crosshairs of the cartel. But he's also said he's Sean Penn. He's not fearful of his life. There's a halfway decent article in the New York Times where they posted a detailed account of El Chapo's capture. And it's definitely worth a look. I'll post it on Twitter at ADSXE, where you can follow me on the interwebs. They say what led to his capture was an order of tacos. Now, here's the thing. It's well documented that Hollywood types and we in America have this thing where we sort of, going back to The Godfather, romanticize this idea of organized crime. We find folks in this situation to be troubled heroes, troubled protagonists, the Walter Whites of this world, the Scarfaces of this world. For whatever the hell reason, we have a soft spot when it comes to fiction and fantasy with them, as evidenced by comedian Pablo Francisco, who does a mean Scarface with Kermit the Frog. Check this out.
You've probably seen Al Pacino as Tony Montana. Now on double DVD, see footage you've never seen before. See Tony Montana do a drug deal with Kermit the Frog.
Okay, the money stays in back, okay? If I'm not back in 15 minutes, something's wrong, okay? Okay, let's go.
Hello. Hola. Intra.
Hey, it's okay if my friends stand outside to know that everything's okay?
Sure, come on in.
Grover says, that's you okay?
That's good. So, do you have the money?
I don't know. Should I stop?
Not with me now, but it's nearby. It's in the car, huh?
No, it's not in the car. You want me to go outside? We'll try again.
Where you from, Tony? What difference where I'm from?
You stop messing around, Frog, and get to that business, okay?
I just get my stuff at Sesame Street.
Oh yeah? Well, can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street? Thank you.
It is cute, and it's indicative of the somewhat romantic take that we in America, specifically Hollywood, have with the world of organized crime. Now, here's the thing, though. Let's not get it twisted in any way, shape, or form. When Sean Penn says that his article, his interview with El Chapo was a failure because it did not create the right sort of attention on a pointless war on drugs, which has wasted, a lot of people would say, trillions of dollars of our money as taxpayers. It's an important point. And let's be real here. Sean Penn, I don't know what the hell his deal is. I really don't. He's in boats in places like New Orleans and Haiti rescuing people, and you got to applaud the guy. He really puts his... he's not afraid to put himself on the front line of pretty much anything. But what he's done here in this particular situation, painted this guy, El Chapo Guzman, in a bit of a sympathetic light. It was wildly and unfortunately dumbed down in his portrayal of a guy who is a make no mistake about it, is a bloodthirsty mass murderer. Penn, I'm sure, needed a wheelbarrow to carry his excitement, if you know what I mean, and I think you do, out of the building the day he scored the interview. I don't know. Don't know what it is. Maybe it's because he started out as Spicoli in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and he feels like he'll never be taken seriously, and he wants to be taken seriously. This was serious journalism to him. But here's the thing with the Rolling Stone interview with El Chapo. At no stage in the game was El Chapo called to task over a brutal drug war, which, when last checked, had a body count of over 1,000 lives. Now, if you get into that business and you end up getting wasted, well, that's a you problem, not an us problem. But when there's as many innocent bystanders in the line of fire as there have been over the years, that's not a good thing. And at no point in this interview was El Chapo made to answer for anything that even vaguely resembled that. Also, I don't think he made mention of things like, the human trafficking that El Chapo is responsible for. There's rumors floating around that this is a guy that, while he was in jail, which he left because, essentially the jail was on his payroll, is what we're sort of learning, that he basically had sort of like a hot and cold running supply of underage prostitutes that would visit him in his room. Yet, and this happens with mob folks all the time. There's a lot of people in New York that I know that have very sympathetic feelings towards the Gaudis. And I think that has to do more with protection than anything else. You don't commit a crime. You don't rob somebody in a gaudy neighborhood. Otherwise, you'll be swimming with the fishes. But in this particular instance, Sean Penn went out of his way to paint this guy who is a bloodthirsty mass murderer as some kind of Robin Hood. And that is the failing of his article in Rolling Stone. More on this in a second.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio.
Every day you're going and working, running that rat race at that pace in that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say, for you, there's gotta be a better way, yeah. And you do what they told ya, company man, feel it, a mindless little soldier. How can you live like that and maintain your composure before it's begun? Your life's already freaking over. Yeah, I do what I want, when I want, how I want.
So in this article that Sean Penn wrote, his stab at being a journalist, perhaps he's, still desperately trying to atone for the fact that he is now and always will be Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. In a desperate effort to be taken seriously, he went after some journalistic integrity in his piece in Rolling Stone on El Chapo. And, well, here's the thing. He did his very best to paint El Chapo in this sort of like Robin Hood-esque sympathetic light. Hold on, where's the quote? He said that he provides much-needed services, funding everything from foods and roads to medical relief. He's built clinics in churches and playgrounds. Well, playgrounds are good. Clinics are good too. Because after children are done being gunned down on the playgrounds in the crossfire of your drug war, they're going to need a place to get patched up. And they're going to need people from the churches to administer last rites. Sean Penn doesn't really address any of this. He was too busy tripping over his own ego. And you know what? El Chapo tripping over his own ego is what led him to this. Oh, I'm going to get to be interviewed by Sean Penn in Rolling Stone magazine. And it's a fascinating look, really, at human nature and why we do the things that we do. El Chapo is, El Chapo was on the Forbes richest list at one point, and then he was taken off of it because some of his income seemed, quote-unquote, suspicious. Yeah, you don't say. And he's out. He's bought the prison. He's bought the prison guards. He's bought gosh knows how many members of the Mexican authorities. And he's out. All he has to do is keep a low profile. All he has to do is keep his head down. Got more than enough money to exist for the rest of his life. And, he's supposed to be this dedicated family man that laments the death of his son who got into the drug trade with him. Yeah, well. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. He's supposed to be this dedicated family man that regularly cooks breakfast for his doting wife. So that should have been enough. Well, you got your business back. You're out. You're free. You have a good chunk of the money in the world. Probably want to keep low for a little bit. Not pop your head up. I think the exact opposite of what you'd want to do when you were in hiding on the lam, on the run from the law is, set yourself up with a Hollywood A-lister so you could be interviewed in Rolling Stone magazine. It's insane. Anyways, Sean Penn has gone on the record saying that his interview with El Chapo was a failure because it did not draw attention. It did not draw attention to the pointless and wasteful war on drugs. I say it's a failure just because it's a freaking failure. There's great reading to be done on this, by the way. Dig around. Look up some stuff on El Chapo before you buy into this belief that he's this cartoon-esque Robin Hood of a character that someone's going to make a movie of the life of, which undoubtedly they will. But before you buy into it, dig around just a little bit. See what you find. There's a writer called Don Winslow. He wrote a whole bunch of books about the drug war. He wrote this book called The Cartel, which was sold to Fox for a film that's going to be directed by Ridley Scott. It's funny. I sat down last night and I dug around and found the Rolling Stone interview. And up until then, I just really hadn't realized the severity of what Sean Penn had done. Where I was like, hold on a second. I mean, I knew he went out to interview this guy, and that's Sean Penn being wacky Sean Penn, same guy that shows up in boats in flooded regions and is like, quick, climb aboard. I will save you. I'm Sean Penn. I just thought he was being weird, but it is weird. I hadn't seen the content of his article because, what am I going to do? Read Sean Penn's article with El Chapo? No, probably not. That's way far down on the list of priorities. But as I'm digging around and as I see the content of it and I see its absolute failure to condemn, like we said, a bloodthirsty mass murder, as I see that he's painted this guy in this sympathetic light, as I see that Hollywood's infatuation with organized crime is not letting people look at this guy for what he really is, as I'm writing these notes to myself last night, thinking about what we're going to talk about on the show today, I'm sickened. I'm disgusted. I'm like, come on. We can do better than this. We cannot aggrandize drug-dealing mass murderers. And I actually came across a really good article by this dude, Don Winslow, who wrote that book, The Cartel, which is going to be made into a Ridley Scott flick. This dude spent like the last 20 years researching Mexican cartels, and most of the violence in his book, The Cartel, is based on real events. He dedicated that book to the more than 100 journalists killed in cartel violence, named every single slain reporter in his intro. And he wrote, if you think what I had to say about Sean Penn was scathing, check out the article he wrote for, what was it? I think it was Deadline, Deadspin, Dead something. You know, like more or less every single person that's ever gotten in the way of El Chapo, and let's not forget that. Do yourself a favor and read it. It's riveting stuff.
Starting from here, my hair is where I feel numb. From the front of my neck to the base of my skull, to get it back by the way my mind is working. Like that, my emotion, my controls always shake.
Like most kids from a privileged white upper-middle-class suburban background, for a significant portion of his childhood, he was pretty convinced he was down. AD on the radio.
Yeah, oh, let's go. Talking that mess, better act like you know. Oh, let's go tonight. Walk away, punk, yeah, bitch. That's right, I know this. You're nothing but a punk, bitch. You're nothing but a punk, bitch. So walk away, yeah, yeah. You've been talking about me for a long time.
So did you see what Amy Schumer did? Amy Schumer, who, full disclosure, I love. Can't get enough of her. And while people will say, oh, she's too much this, she's too much that, she's not enough of this, she's a lot less of the other than she should be, I'm going to stop you right there. The reason I can't get enough of Amy Schumer is because she makes me laugh to the point where I'm dizzy and almost pass out. Love Amy Schumer. Love her work. Think she's unbelievably hilarious. But something kind of interesting happened. Amy Schumer beat down a reporter who made, I guess, what you would call a slut joke about her. And I was like, ooh, that's sort of something that you do at your own expense all the time. And we'll get into the whys and wherefores of all of it. Now, I would never make a joke like that at her expense had I met her the way this person had. But it just opens up an interesting can of worms with regards to the principle of the thing. We'll get into that later. Plus, if we have time, how much money do you need to make to feel successful? If you had to put a dollar amount on success, what would it be? Think about that number, and we'll discuss it in a little bit. Right now, though, let's take a look at the events of today in our segment, My Witness News, in no way, shape, or form fair. Certainly not balanced. Guest read today by our former intern and host of the #1 hip-hop podcast on the internet, Wake the Flock Up, which you can download at waketheflockup.net. It is Concept
Mic check 1 2 1 2. This is Concept 714, host of waketheflockup.net, the #1 hip hop podcast in the world. You are now listening to AD on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
I want to be the #1 something in the world.
You're my #1, AD.
Not the same.
Something else.
Right.
Very nice, but something else.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, I honestly, like, I don't know the criteria upon which you base calling it the #1 hip hop podcast in the world, but similarly, you are my #1.
Aww.
That would be my #1 hip hop podcast. That is where I go to listen. That is where I go to get my news. That is where I go to get my information. That is where, and what you do is truly unique and awesome. But I'm trying to think, Funkhouser, what do you suppose we are legitimately #1 at?
I don't know. I'm #1 at gardening in my neighborhood.
Yeah. Is your neighborhood a very gardening-centric place?
No, not really.
So no Mexicans live in your neighborhood? Yeah.
I don't know.
See, going back to Amy Schumer, she refers to herself as a skank on a regular basis, says that she's loose.
Jesus.
We would not do that because, well, I wouldn't. That would just be my gut instinct. Right. You don't do that. It's okay for her to do that. Uh-huh. And you, being a Mexican guy, making a gardening joke, well, I couldn't do that. Right. But it's interesting that you... Now, let me ask you this.
We can all make sandwich jokes, though, right?
Sandwich?
Women making, hey, woman, make me a sandwich. Get back in the kitchen. That whole thing.
How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah. I don't do that. I don't make sandwich jokes. I don't think it's cool. I don't think it's all right. And
do you make sandwiches though?
Well, that's the thing. The reason that I find the sandwich joke to be cruel and reductive is twofold. On the one hand, saying, hey, woman, your place is in the kitchen and you should be making me a sandwich after having met my sexual needs. That's deplorable.
Yes.
But the other thing that I dislike about sandwich jokes is that I love sandwiches. And there was such a sandwich proliferation in sort of like the public zeitgeist for a little while. Everybody was making sandwich jokes. I don't know where it came from, but it was like the whole thing. It was a constant, never-ending stream of sandwich jokes, which, like I said, were reductive to women, and for that reason, not a good thing. And then I realized something about the sandwich joke that made it even worse than it already was, which was now, at any stage in the game, when you even vaguely suggest to a woman that a sandwich would be nice, even if you're going to go out and buy those sandwiches for both of you, it's like, oh, really? A sandwich joke? Not today. And also, you can forget anything that was going to happen tonight because no. And just because somebody had made the concept of a sandwich offensive to women, I missed out on delicious sandwiches, and I'm not having it. If I had to pick a favorite food, it would be a sandwich. It's got everything. A sandwich in the middle of the day, that's just what you need. It's got just enough carbs. It's got some protein. It's delicious. It's got some cheese. It's got some lettuce. It's got some tomato if you're doing it right. And, man, anybody that takes away enjoyment of sandwiches from me is someone that is on my hit list. And
so that's what you're number one at, describing a sandwich.
That was amazing.
Are you hungry now? Would you like a sandwich?
I was visualizing it in my head. No, but let's look at it factually, okay? I say the one way you can really break it down is...
Well, hold on, wait. Are you actually Mexican?
Yes,
I mean, people say, are you Mexican? You're an American citizen, right?
Well, I'm born here in America. American through and through. But my parents are Mexican. They were born in Mexico, then they came here. Legally, by the way, and they remain here legally. And
right.
And I was born here in the United States.
Right. So, but you have Mexican heritage, I guess, would be the
100%.
way.
Yeah, I'm only first generation American. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, do you garden? I mean, you said Mexicans garden. That was your joke, not mine. Let's just be crystal clear about this.
Yes.
But do you garden? Because Funkhouser's a hardcore gardener, and I've never heard you bring up gardening once.
Can I play some appropriate music for this conversation?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. See, I was a little worried about the Mexican joke. I'm like, oh, AD's not going to like that. But now it all falls on funk, which I'm cool with. That's fine.
I'm the fall guy again?
I live in an apartment, so we don't have a lot of gardening to do. You know what I'm saying? But I will tell you this. I think the one way you can kind of take the sting away from a joke is if it lands on...
That's so not cool.
It lands on facts, right? So I think we should go to Subway and ask them, do you employ more female sandwich makers or male sandwich makers, right?
Well,
and depending on
it doesn't matter. They're all, according to Subway, they're all artists.
Right. So, and I see it as I think girls would make better sandwiches than guys would make. Don't you think?
We're getting way off topic.
Are we off topic?
And I like girls listening to the show, so
yeah,
I think we should.
I'm just saying. I think.
Well, if it came down to me, if it came down to me, I make a good sandwich, but not a great sandwich. So there's any number of people that can make better sandwiches than me.
It's like a masseuse. Would you prefer a guy making your sandwich or a girl making your sandwich?
It's very different. At no stage do I rub the Coca-Cola all over my body and expect it to relieve tension. That's just not a thing. I've never been I'm just going to pastrami myself up so that the stress of the day leaves through my feet. No, it's...
No, it doesn't apply.
No.
All right. Yeah.
But my point is, you made a Mexican gardening joke. Do you garden? Because I know Funkhouser, for a fact, chose his domicile, chose where he chose to live based on the fact that it had gardening space in it. He was just like, well, I like it because it's got a yard and that'll allow me to plant my butter lettuce or whatever the hell it is. What do you plant, Funkhouser, when you're gardening naked?
Oh, man, I got dinosaur kale rocking. I got butter lettuce. American flag leeks. That's right.
Wow.
A whole bunch of other stuff. Just planted some beans. Oh, I did some tomatoes.
What kind of beans? Green beans?
No.
Here
like
we go with
beans
the Mexican thing again. Beans, okay.
Beans on the vine
All right,
and
guys.
stuff.
Oh.
I did get white beans though, and green beans.
Green beans and white beans. All right. AD.
Yes.
Did you know that the University of Phoenix, the largest online university, is for sale due to
I think
low
I actually heard a
enrollment?
beeping sound as Concept was backing out of any sort of racially sensitive area. It was like,
you know what? I made enough ruckus last time I was here. I just want to I want to play.
Hey, you know what you don't do? Don't bring up your mistakes again so people go back and listen.
What I exactly said last time was this.
Hold on, let's... sorry.
The University of Phoenix,
Yes.
go on.
The largest online university is for sale due to low enrollment.
Yeah, I heard about that. I was surprised. Do you know anybody that has gotten their degree online?
Yes, I know online classes. I had to take a couple myself, but I don't know anyone out of the University of Phoenix.
See, if you can take online classes at, I don't know, UCLA or Harvard or another brick and mortar school that you can go into, then I think nobody knows. You just get the credit and you move on with your life.
Right.
But if you're going to an all-online university like the University of Phoenix, the largest online university, I think that makes people go,
Yeah.
I don't know if they really buy into it. But yeah, the University of Phoenix, largest online university, is actually for sale because not enough people are enrolling. It's especially difficult for me to believe because this is the only way that you can earn a degree whilst at the same time watching porn, and I would have thought that there were people like me out there that would value that.
I've gone to school and watched porn there.
On your phone, on a school computer?
Here we go again.
How does one do this?
Absolutely.
We're not in delay.
All of the above?
Yes, and. Yes, and. 84-year-old Robert Murdoch got engaged.
Rupert. You know who Rupert Murdoch is?
Yeah. What did I say?
He owns everything.
Yeah. I know him.
He's Australian, right?
Got engaged to Jerry Hall.
Yep. Did you see this? Crazy. Mick Jagger's ex-wife.
Oh, no.
What was that, Funkhouser?
He's Australian, right? Isn't he Australian? It's an Australian instrument.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Is that a kangaroo of some sort?
No, it's a didgeridoo.
It's a cool
and for one very unfortunate period in rock music, it was this cool thing. Like Incubus guy Brandon Boyd, he played a didgeridoo during their shows, and it's this whole sort of like hippie, spiritual, get in touch with the earth thing. Because I think the Aborigines will do some sort of Aboriginal version of peyote and play that thing for like hours on end. So it's seen as being a bit of a spiritual instrument. And white guys with dreadlocks in America love to pick one up and think that they were one with Mother Earth during that time. And to the people that got didgeridoos, I would say to them, don't even come near me with that thing. 84-year-old Rupert Murdoch engaged to Mick Jagger's ex-wife, Jerry Hall. He proposed to her. Week and a half later, still stuck on one knee. Go on.
Experts say showering too much kills healthy bacteria.
Yeah. How often do you guys like to shower?
I vow this. Okay, people don't think it's true, but I shower twice in a 24-hour period.
I can buy into that. I can buy into that. There's times where one will not do for whatever the reason. But apparently, look, cleanliness being next to godliness. And it's so frustrating because there's so many sort of like, you try and be healthy, and there's all these sort of like, all right, I'm going to be healthy. What do I do? And there's so much conflicting information out there, but you would think that cleanliness being next to godliness, it would never be a bad idea to take a shower. I mean, there's the whole thing with the drought in California where shorter showers or less showers or what have you. But yeah, apparently showering too much, like more than once a day, if you shower twice in a 24-hour period concept, what you're doing apparently is killing the healthy bacteria that lives on you and drying out your skin to the point where it becomes cracked and susceptible to infection. So you lose the bacteria that helps kill infection, and then your skin opens up. You've got sort of like dry and cracking situations on your skin, which makes it that much easier to get infected and with whatever the hell it is, and perhaps die. Apparently showering too much can kill you if your immune system is compromised.
Wow.
So it's not a good
Well,
one.
I put on a little cocoa butter when I'm done. I mean, I don't stay dry. You know what I mean? Like,
You put on cocoa butter?
yeah, absolutely, man. I smell like chocolate all the time.
Well,
How does that work? Wouldn't you smell like cocoa butter all the time?
Well, cocoa, chocolate,
cocoa, chocolate. He's in love with the cocoa.
butter.
Yeah,
Let's
but
clear
yeah,
that
turns out showering too much kills healthy bacteria. Now, if they can say that smoking causes healthy lungs, it'll be a great day for the engineer that works down the hall. Go on.
102-year-old New Jersey woman is still teaching home economics full time.
102.
102.
Yeah.
God bless.
You know, it's weird as people did not win the Powerball, as most of us, as it turns out, did not. I knew a lot of people that were depressed about it. Like,
you know the rumor? You know the rumor behind that, AD?
What?
That the guy that won it was like this super rich guy who bought $10,000 worth of.
I heard that rumor.
False.
I heard like he was a hedge fund manager that bought $30,000 worth of tickets, and I don't think that one's been confirmed. I do know that there's a couple in Tennessee that won $500 million.
Still going to work.
They still go to work. But yeah, 102-year-old New Jersey woman, if you're looking for some search for meaning after a disappointing week where you did not win the Powerball, she's 102, still making the world go around, still making the world a better place, still enriching the youth of tomorrow by teaching home economics full-time at 102 years old. Her students bring her apples every day, just not green bananas.
With the H-Town Jam, came to the city with a master plan. H-Town is my home whenever I'm at home. I'll return to the land.
Now, more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me.
Females are weighing in on Twitter. Jenna said, all of my kids are half Mexican. We were talking about
Females
racism.
know how to use Twitter now?
Ooh.
Oh my God.
They put down the sandwich knives long
Just
enough?
asking.
That's amazing. How do they do it with oven mitts? How do they tweet with oven mitts?
Jenna said that all of her kids are half Mexican, and she'd rather them laugh at racism than get offended. Getting offended gives it power. That's an interesting take on the situation. That's very enlightened, actually. I like that. That's really good because, I mean, here's the thing. Look, it would be great to live in a world where it didn't exist. Sadly, it does, and I suppose the less power we give it, the less likely it is to survive. So that's an interesting take. I like that. Lisa said, thank you for not condoning the sandwich joke. It sucks whenever I hear it. A boyfriend said it a lot, and that's one reason why he's an ex. Now, yes, this is the thing, because Lisa's insensitive D-bag ex-boyfriend made lots of sandwich jokes. If I were to be hanging out with Lisa and went, hey, should we go get a sandwich? She'd be like, oh, yeah, because I'm a woman, right? And it would ruin the sandwich for me. This is why I don't like the sandwich jokes, because it interferes with my enjoyment of delicious sandwiches. Go on. More news, por favor.
But we got to go back to the Amy Schumer thing eventually, right? Because
we'll get to it.
Okay.
Calm down.
All right. Now, Miley Cyrus.
My size in the news. Ooh.
Oh, you know the rule, Funkhouser. Anytime you refer to as my sign, anytime you refer to as my sign instead of Miley Cyrus, I demand that you put on a pretty little floral print number, tuck your manly business, and swish around like a big girl, because that's what you just sounded like.
Oh my. Okay. You know what?
A closet full of floral print pastels.
He'll actually just say it because he wants to do it now, I think. But she was seen arriving at Liam Hemsworth's house in a U-Haul.
I love that. That's how rich is Miley Cyrus? Really, really freaking rich. And what does she do when she's moving in with a guy? Brings her own stuff in a U-Haul. You know why she does it? Because One U-Haul is all of her drug paraphernalia for a single night. But, like, that's why, like, I was just like, she is a, look at her. Miley Cyrus, moving her own stuff. She's down to earth. No, like, half the stuff in that U-Haul is wildly illegal. That's why she has to look after it herself.
Is she moving in with him? Is that what's... I just kind of figured it was like a thing to disguise from the media.
No.
Like a U-Haul, and then, like, she secretly gets into the place.
I'm not sure.
No?
I don't know.
Is that Thor?
You want to hear the hidden microphone inside of her place there?
Oh, no.
Go for it.
Whoa, man. Whoa.
Wow.
What was the first thing?
My side.
Jurassic Park? Is that what she said?
It says here Miley Cyrus.
And that's what comes out when
in
you
the shower. See, look, Miley Cyrus, and what's that
I'm
say
seeing
right
it.
there? You see it?
That's her showering. Yeah, that's about right.
What's the Funkhouser?
Yeah.
What's that button? The one that the guy used on Thanksgiving. The appropriate sound effect to play in this.
Real classy. Why don't we just go to the story?
There you go. Go on.
Idiot.
Paula Deen.
Oh boy.
Turned 69 today.
Oh.
So many angles to attack this joke from. I want to see where you're going, AD. Let's hear it.
Well, I feel first we need to butter the topic up.
Wow.
Yeah, in big fat lard ass, fat-filled, butter-basted, racist, fatty news, Paula Deen turned 69 today. Interestingly enough, she celebrated yesterday only because she needed something to take her mind off of MLK Day. Go on.
Can we ask her to make us a sandwich?
Stephen Baldwin says his daughter and Justin Bieber are just friends.
Justin Bieber?
Yeah.
Bieber. Yeah. Yep. Stephen Baldwin and his daughter, I guess, has been spending a lot of quality time with Justin Bieber. There's photos of them hanging out together and, looking a little bit more than just friendly. But yeah, Stephen Baldwin said his daughter and Justin Bieber are just friends, to which I responded, that's very interesting, Stephen, but this Del Taco isn't going to assistant manage itself, and I'm waiting on my burrito, so chop chop, my good man. Go on.
Yesterday, we heard Jim Belushi join the cast of the new Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Belushi.
Were you guys? You watch Twin Peaks?
No.
So it was a '90s show, and like I remember seeing a couple episodes when I was a kid, and recently I've been binge watching stuff, and it's coming back. Kind of like the X-Files.
Uh-huh.
It came out, I guess, right around the same time as the X-Files. And like the X-Files, it's being kind of not rebooted, but picked up again way off into the future after the original X-Files and or Twin Peaks took place. So there's going to be a new version of Twin Peaks, and Jim Belushi, John Belushi's brother, is going to be in it. And today I think they released a plot synopsis where, let's see here, it says here that... the characters will be trying to figure out who the hell thought it was a good idea to put Jim Belushi in Twin Peaks. What was that show he had with the mom from Melrose Place?
According to Jim.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not good. Go on.
Not great, no. Quentin Tarantino says all the characters in his movies are connected.
Yes, they are connected through their love of the N-word. Go on.
Jada Pinkett Smith is boycotting the Oscars because of its lack of diversity.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
Is it ridiculous to boycott, or is the lack of diversity ridiculous?
Her haircut. Jada Pinkett Smith's haircut. No, I don't know, AD. At this point, I just go with flow.
What does that mean?
At this point, there's not much I can do.
What flow?
Anymore.
What flow? Are you making
the flow
fun
of sandwiches.
Women's? You making fun of women's lady time?
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Back to
I get in trouble for stuff, but AD just free reign.
Yeah, Jada Pinkett Smith boycotting the Oscars, to which Adam Sandler replied, "Oh yeah, lack of diversity. That's totally why I'm boycotting it too."
It's not how you use it. You gave it a shot. You tried your best. Your best is suck without enough. So hang it up. Just give it up. It's time somebody let you know that you will never be good enough. You will never be one of us. You will never be good enough. You know why? You're gonna suck, and you're going nowhere. And that's why no one cares. And you should be
Now, someone who everybody wants to punch in the face. AD on the radio.
So, if you had to pick a number, what number would that be to feel successful? If you had to pick a number, a dollar amount that you had to apply to your income to where you felt successful, what would that number be? We'll get into that in just a little bit. Right now, though, let's roll through what remains of the news in our segment, My Witness News. In no way, shape, or form fair, certainly not bounds. Guest read today by hosts of the #1 hip-hop podcast in the world, Wake the Flock Up, which you can download at waketheflockup.net. Concept 714.
Yes, sir, it's true. I am here.
Yeah. So hold on. Yes. You had an amazing interview, which I haven't had a chance to check out yet, but it's bookmarked, it's ready to go, and I can't wait to listen. And if you're just joining us, we were talking a little bit ago about how Jada Pinkett Smith says she's boycotting the Oscars because of its lack of diversity. Now, I think one of the things that made people go, hello, is, you had the writer of Straight Outta Compton.
Yes.
On your show. And you interviewed him.
I did.
Now, was this before or after the Oscar nominations came out?
So, unknowingly to me, it was the night before he was announced. So he knew he was up for it, but he didn't tell me that. It wasn't until the day after that I found out that he had been.
And he is nominated for an Oscar.
He is nominated for original screenplay, yes.
Original screenplay. And he is a white guy.
He is a white guy.
He is a white guy. Now, I wonder, because like a lot of people thought the performance, and I still haven't seen Straight Outta Compton. Can't wait to see it. Didn't get a chance to catch it in the theater, so I'm waiting to be able to stream it. But a lot of people thought that there were numerous performances in Straight Outta Compton that were perhaps Oscar worthy. Am I right?
Yes.
And the controversy is, people would say, well, yeah, it's all white people nominated for the acting Oscars again, but there hasn't really been a movie with black people in it now there's a giant screaming example of a movie with some with people that are not white that a lot of folks feel turned in Oscar-worthy performances in Straight Outta Compton. But you didn't get a chance to touch on this with him at all, did you?
No, I didn't know that he was nominated for it. It wasn't, the topic that we were discussing at the time.
That'd be so cool if he went on to win, and then you'd have an interview with an Oscar winner.
Yeah. I mean, that would be amazing.
I mean, it's amazing. Amazing just to be nominated. It's amazing just to interview someone that's been nominated. That's really, really freaking cool.
Yeah, unless he stopped on the way home. We are the last interview that he had before he was nominated. So.
That's so cool,
right? Yeah.
And give us a brief rundown. What's the guy's name, and where can people listen?
So his name is oh man, you kind of called
his
me
name
on the
is
spot.
Memorable, is what it is.
No, his name is Lee Savage. He is the writer of he has a really good eye for the material that he wants to do, and he has a fascination with everything that involves death row records. And NWA, you could say, was the very first steps to create death row records. So he wrote that. He wrote a documentary called Welcome to Death Row. That's what kind of got him in that pathway, and then he wrote the Straight Outta Compton movie. I am my own worst critic, AD. I tell you this all the time. But I think this is the best interview in the history of humanity. So, no, it's controversial. It's groundbreaking. He says things on here that when hip-hop gets notice of, it's going to create a lot of ruckus, I think.
That's interesting.
Because it's coming from a source that has no dog in the fight, and he's telling you, as a documentary maker, what he found and what he believes is the truths to those big questions. Who shot Pac? Who shot Biggie? Those kind of, and he tells you his opinion, and he kind of breaks it down for you. So you guys should check that out.
That's so cool. And he has a concrete idea. He thinks of who shot Pac and who shot Biggie?
Yes.
Did you ask him if he thought Pac was still alive?
It came up jokingly. He was in Cuba and this and that. But he's pretty sure he's dead. He's pretty sure of that. But he says he has a solid idea of both cases. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go give that a listen because, like, a lot of those folks, like, all my best friends worked for Bad Boy back in the day. All my New York people worked for Bad Boy.
Yes.
And they were, you know, it was funny because they were nothing really to do with it. They just kind of started making those records or being part of the organization. Mm-hmm. Like, one of my best friends is, and he doesn't really work on hip hop records anymore. He's mostly a mastering engineer and does rock records these days. But he was Puffy's main mix engineer for a really, really long time. And there's stories of, you know what, I'm not even going to say, but there's stories of some. They've told me some crazy stuff, and these are people that I absolutely believe. This guy's more like my family. He has no reason to lie to me in these situations. He's told me some crazy stuff happening in those situations where he's seen it firsthand, and he's seen people that have gone to jail. There's been very real situations where folks were worried that lives were going to get lost, and I think that's part of the reason why he's not really with it anymore. And I think he had a bit problems getting paid on occasion, so he it's not really his thing anymore. But it's funny because a lot of this stuff is hype, and a lot of this stuff is myth, and a lot of the bad boys of hip hop and or rock music sit around in their dressing rooms drinking milk. But every once in a while, you come into these situations that are very, very frighteningly real. And so I've heard from my sort of like little clique of insiders who they think is responsible for this sort of thing. So I'll be very, very excited to listen to that interview. WakeTheFlock.net. What's the guy's name? Who Savage?
Lee Savage.
Lee Savage.
Is that out now?
Someone's.
Yes, it's out now, actually.
Yeah,
so it's on the very front page, WakeTheFlock.net. It's the very first interview you see. It's already doing super good. We've gotten great responses, and I was kind of worried, but the Welcome to Death Row camp is totally pushing it. So they're okay with the way the interview came out. Because then I went and I backed it with audio clips. Of exactly what he's talking about, so there's no way to like misconstrue.
Oh, so you kind of made it like a hip hop version of Serial, is what you did.
Yes,
that's
a great compliment.
There you go. Concept 714's True Crime. We're gonna be we're going. He'll be like, "Hey man, want to come out to my private island?" We're like, "Sorry, we got to gas up the Hyundai." And he's like, "Oh well, okay. I'll be choppering up to the Cape. Catch up when you can, because I basically just started the hip hop version of Making a Murderer. It's good stuff. Can't wait to listen."
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Go on. More news.
Dolly Parton turned 70 today.
Yeah,
70.
Dolly,
well, kiss my grits.
Dolly, voice of an angel, Parton. You ever seen her live?
I haven't. I'm a huge Dolly Parton fan. You know,
I'm a huge Dolly Parton fan, and here's the thing: I don't really like country and or Western music, but Dolly Parton, if you get a chance to, I mean, like, I don't know what her voice is like now. I saw her not that long ago, though, sort of like 5-6 years ago, I think is when I saw her.
Yes.
Voice of an angel, and plays every single instrument under the sun, and not just like strums along with a few chords, like shreds on everything: guitar, fiddle, that auto harp thing that you put down in your lap and play with the weird buttons. Like, she plays literally everything and sings like you wouldn't believe. Unbelievably talented, gifted, incredible woman, I think. And when I saw that she turned 70, I feel as though I might have to make an adjustment to my laminated get out of relationship free card, which lists her as my number one. Like, because that's Dolly Parton for years, but I just didn't realize she was 70. And is 70 pushing it? I have to see a recent picture of Dolly Parton.
Is she like your one celebrity pass that you and your girlfriend have? Is that what you're telling me right now?
Dolly Parton, through my personal, ever since I started dating, has been a celebrity pass for me. It's just like, hey, she's a fantastic woman. And then, it was funny because, like, I started paying attention to her music a little bit more. And then, what it was? Seeing her sing live was incredible. Mm-hmm. Because you listen to the records and that's cool, but country records are some of the most sonically perfect things on the face of the planet. They are produced more by doctors and less by musicians. Like, they are, like I said, sonically perfect. And a lot of the time, you don't necessarily capture the raw beauty of a performance or of a vocal or something like that when it's being made all slick and studio polished. But if you hear Dolly Parton sing live, it will change your life. I promise you this. And she turned 70 today. I think she's going to spend the day like she spends every other day. trying as hard as she can not to tip over. Go on.
American Pie singer Don McLean was arrested in Maine on assault charges.
Yeah. Yep. I think he was also cited because the Chevy he took to the levee had expired plates.
ISIS had to cut salaries
and
in
alcoholism.
Right, yeah. Sorry, that too.
ISIS
Good old boy had
had
been drinking whiskey and rye for an awfully long time.
Yeah.
to the dry levee that he drove to?
Yeah.
ISIS had to cut salaries in half after airstrike destroyed major cash reserves.
Yeah. ISIS. And it's so funny when you
Poor
think about
ISIS.
ISIS.
Poor ISIS.
ISIS having salaries. Like, salary. Like, isn't it time for the raid? Yeah.
Can they
Been with the
take things up with
organization for
HR?
some time now.
Can
Yeah,
they take it up with
I know,
HR?
it's just-
Like-
maybe think about it. Like, ISIS have salaries. Is come
Yeah.
with dental, too? Just like... Jihad or not, you got a toothache, that's going to ruin your whole day.
Their benefits are to die for, AD.
Oh, Karate Kid in Funkhouser.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That's what I do.
Very good, very good.
Thank you.
But yeah, it shocked me. Like, I never really thought of it. Like, ISIS have salaries, and they had to cut salaries in half after airstrikes destroyed major cash reserves. And now, instead of death to America, I think a lot of the guys are chanting, take this jihad and shove it. In other cost-cutting measures, I think martyrs now only get the 68 virgins. And what the hell are you supposed to do with that?
Yeah.
You get Don on account. You get Jamal on accounting on the phone. Yeah. Tell him I signed up for all the versions. What is the appeal of virgins? Like, and how many are you supposed to get after you martyr yourself? Is it 72?
72. But
72.
The way I see it, that's 72 sandwiches you get in heaven. So I'm kind of with it a little bit, I think. No.
Here's the thing about I would rather 72. Yeah, I mean, like, what do you want? 72 people that are really bad in the sack because they've never done anything before. Like, I would, I mean, I don't want someone that's been around the world twice, but I also don't want to have to explain how everything works to a virgin. That's just the idea of 72 virgins is not appealing to me. I don't understand. Like, if someone said, "Hey, 72 virgins await you if you strap this to your chest and blow yourself up and take out a couple people with you," not a real big selling point for me. I don't understand it. Like, when I took someone's V card in high school, I wasn't that stoked about it. Right. It's just too much responsibility. I don't want 72 of those responsibilities. It's just like, she doesn't really know what she's doing. I'm not going to be able to rock her world. It makes no sense. It's just like, I mean, I'm a wizard, of course, in the sack, but, at some point, if she doesn't know what lights her fire, you're never going to be able to get her midsection singing Sweet Virginia. If I was a jihad suicide bomber, this is what I'd be thinking to myself. I was like, I can't, really, 72 virgins is 72 pieces of a whole lot of responsibility, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm just more caring than your average jihad terrorist about the sexual experience of my significant other.
And who's it heaven for? It's not heaven for the virgins, right?
Can you do it in heaven? Like, is that a thing? Heaven is such a vague concept, and you'd think that all the good stuff goes on in heaven. So
wouldn't you fall through the clouds just from
that is one of creation's that's one of creation's greatest gifts to man is the ability to enjoy a little bounce kawawa action. So it would make sense that it exists in heaven, but I'm not so sure. I think they might have lured in these jihad suicide bombers under false pretenses. That's what I think.